Wednesday, May 27th. We're going to have some time for meetings underway. I'd like to start out with the Pledge of Allegiance. And we'll move signs.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Hold signs for those who come before us. Thank you. All right, I'd like to convene our regular meeting and point out that there are exits to my left and straight ahead and also to my right if you need to. Make sure that all phones are silenced during the meeting. And if you can't hear what we're saying, let us know. We're trying to work on the volume. Welcome to all the people who are watching us electronically at home. And we are happy that you could be here. Okay. First order of business, some comments, some very basic comments, and some things that are going around the town, some good things. One of the things is we had a request from the Virgin residents about sweeping up some of the debris that had landed there during the winter and spring, and they said that Bennett Street looks so much better. Thank you very much for the attention to our request. We appreciate all who were involved to make it happen. And that was Kate, our engineer, and Chris Woznicki and Highway made sure that all this stuff gets done there. Virgin's got some stumps, signs. Tony, I'm sorry, Parks and Rec is in the props. I apologize for that date. So you definitely need the stops to go. So, good job on that. Also, kudos go to the highway department. There was a request for somebody to put up a sign at Gillette Road stating that it ends speed zone beginning. So these are people getting tickets. They were unsure where the speed zone started and stopped in the school zone. And Chris said he would take care of that. And then he responded back and emailed me and said, "Wow, that was fast. Thanks so much." So sometimes town government reacts pretty quickly, and people like to see that. This Saturday, May 30th, two events going on at the same time in town Cicero. I'll be doing the Supervisor Saturday at Kim's Diner from 8 to 10, and Coffee with a Cop will be at the diner at the same time, 8 to 10. If you get a chance to stop any one of those two, that would be wonderful. All right. Okay, so that's going to dispense that. We were going to do a plaque presentation at this point, but I do not see Joan here. So we're going to suspend that for the time being to another meeting. Okay. Public input pertaining to any kind of items for tonight's agenda.
I just wanted to ask about that plaque. It's the first time we've done this. Kind of what's the history behind that?
The history is when I started here, there was a pile of pictures on the desk, supervisor's desk, that I asked about, and he said that was left there to create a plaque for Joan Kessel. And then no action had been taken at that point. So I took it upon myself to get that process moving to honor someone who's been in service to the town for so many years.
Okay. Are we going, because I think there's some that are missing up there. Are we gonna do this like monthly to fill in the gaps?
I don't have a plan. This Jones was there. I was asked about it. She's been in service for 15 years in the town, so we decided to do that. I would like to see the town, especially for supervisors who serve multiple terms after they have retired, maybe, or board members or somebody who has been in for a long time. I'd like to see them more or less brought to the attention of the board and talk about where they want to put a plaque up for who. I think after they've gotten out of service, they deserve to be recognized. So that would be my thought. No hard and fast rule on that. Okay.
So I think that we should give everyone a chance to speak about this. Sure. Because this is the first that we've heard of it. I also think that, there needs to be some boundaries. I know that there's some money that's being spent on this plaque and it was never brought to our attention or voted on. And I think if we're spending any of the town's money, tax money, we should be voting on it because that's what we were elected to do. I also just think that there needs to be some fairness to this. And to Chris's point, if we're gonna do it for someone, we need to do it for everyone. It can't just be taken upon yourself. You're one of 5, and I think that it needs to be a 5-person discussion anytime we're spending the town's money.
You know.
Yeah, and one of the things that I like to comment on, it was on the agenda item for the board to present it. And when we don't have any knowledge that we're presenting or any knowledge or background pertaining to it, it'd be nice if we had a little conversation leading up to it. So if we're presenting it to as well, share some information with us for whoever it may be, so we have some background, so we're not just here saying, hey, we're presenting you with, we don't know what.
Again, duly noted, I apologize for any, mistake of information on that, and that will be certainly, addressed in the future. Thank you
So
very
is there
much.
any particular criteria, like for those plaques that are up there, was that just? Why were those awarded and not?
For historical purposes, and thanks for asking, Chris. It was my second meeting, my third meeting back in 2014. Before that, so I'll rewind a little bit more. So on our right-hand side here of the wall, if my memory serves me correctly, there used to be small plaques before they painted it white or whatever gray, white color it is. There was miniature plaques for everyone who served. If I remember, it was getting really big and it was, I understood the purpose of, changing things, like change isn't always bad, right? Those in the back, the first two that were there, if I remember correctly, were Jim Coral Jr. and they were Chet Bisinski. And it was at that meeting, I can go back and look, and I remember it was 10 years of service to the town as a board member so it's 10 years as a board member to the board was that criteria. There's people that have served for 10 years, I know that aren't up there, that are now retired, right? John Clark being one of them, right? Just recently, this is in my memory, right? You either have a hard and fast criteria, right, that the board agrees on and we move forward with, right? They need to match, right? It looks arrogant back, right? They don't look good. They should all match and look the same. And then that's why you either do it for all or you do it for none. And I just remember at that meeting, Joan spoke and she was mad she didn't work with her podcast. 15 years, like to me, it was 15 years as a board member. I don't know if she served 15 years as a board member or not. I don't know. But I remember it was 15 years as a board member. Now this board can change that, right? To whatever criteria we want. So I just, before we go giving plaques out, just can we work as a team and figure out criteria moving forward so that everybody who has met the criteria in the past, going all the way back to 1807, we make sure that they're all honored properly.
Yeah, I'd like to recommend that Council McCallum, because you've been on this board longer than any of us, that you kind of take the lead on this because, it seems like you've got more of a grasp of the town's history with the board, and as none of us really do. And I'd like to see that, I'd like to see you try to come up with the criteria, and we can all talk about that if you don't mind.
It wouldn't be the only thing that I have more knowledge on. But yes,
Oh, don't say.
Just to be sure I understand you, Councilor McCallum, you said either kind of an all or nothing thing. So the other one would be, we don't do it for anybody.
I'll offer up multiple options, right?
Because-
And we'll go from there, because there's been arguments in the past that people that used to serve, they come up to the podium and they go,
Well, that's what this does, is no one really cares about the plaque. I mean, I know I wouldn't, that's not why I do this. This is a lot more work than the plaque worth anyways, but that's not why we do this. But when you do a plaque for someone, it starts igniting people thinking that what they did wasn't enough and wasn't enough to get recognized for. So that's why it needs to be an all or nothing thing, or maybe do like a plaque where you list out the names, and then if you've done 10 years, you do one with a picture, but. That's why all of these types of discussions, and when we're spending the town's money, should be a group of 5, because we all have different brains and bring different things to the table. And we come up with the best results when we use all 5 programs.
yeah.
And
And all for, okay.
I was just gonna say, the cost thing, exactly. If we're gonna go back to 18, whatever, that could be a lot. So we wanna keep that in mind in terms of.
And it doesn't have to be individual like it is here.
Right,
Right?
because we have just their names on one.
If we were gonna do individuals for everybody, they don't match. They need to match. It needs to be uniform and stay. That's my whole deal with all of this. It's just, people that need to be honored. Frankly, if you were elected in my mind, you should be honored. Yeah. Whether you served
that's
a day or a half hour or 15 years, right? That's just how I thought. I thought 10 years was a
And we can do that in a cost effective way, we can come up with a great.
arbitrary number in the first place, but that's what that board in 2014 said. And it was my second meeting, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess that's what it is, right? Okay, so yeah.
Well, thank you for
That
that,
is,
Mr.
one of the right, the one we used to have was, it was ugly, right? Was not pleasing to the eye, I know why they. Thanks for the introduction,
So
everybody.
let's, moving forward, Counselor, you'll be in charge of this project. We'll certainly get some kind of standards that we can have, and we can honor. All right, at this point, we'd like to have public input pertaining to items on, public hearing of tonight's agenda. You have up to 3 minutes. Everybody like to speak on anything on tonight's agenda, please come forward, state your name, and, we'll go from there. Okay, since no one has stepped up, we're gonna move on to the rest of the meeting and flags, guys.
Move for the adoption of a resolution approving abstract number 19 of 2026 dated 5/13/2026. Abstract number 9. I dated 5/13/2026. Abstract number 20 dated 5/20/2026, and abstract number 21 dated 5/27/2026.
Second?
We have a second. Okay, board comments on any agenda items?
I would like to make an amendment to this resolution. I don't think it's right that Counselor, oh my gosh, party has to abstain because of for National Grid. Can we just move National Grid out into its own section so that he can vote on the rest of the abstracts? If we can't, I get it. I just,
Or
I think she could
vote on them individually even,
say that again.
or we could choose to vote on individually, the ones that they're
That'd be
not.
another perfect way to do it. I just think it's pointless for you as a elected official not to be able to vote on abstracts.
So the other way, like,
Yeah, can't we just move it to another number? Can we do?
Yeah, or, council party could say, with the exception of that one item.
That works good.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Sounds good.
So you can do that. Good, okay.
There's no amendment needed.
So I can make my comment now.
Yeah, absolutely, board comments.
So I'm gonna, here with my exception of the National Grid stuff, I'll be voting on the agenda items, or the abstract.
All right, fine. Any other additional board comments on the abstracts before we vote? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Opposed, abstentions, the motion is adopted. I'm going to move to waive the reading of the legal notice, which has been posted and advertised at the proper time. Do I have a second?
So moved.
Calling for a voice vote on waiving that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion is adopted. Tony, would you like to speak on this item regarding the public hearing today? Before we open it.
It's just a 5-year plan, so that when we go out to these grants and to the county, that the board is all aware of what the plan was, that we are not trying to slide something in there. That it's kind of a foreseen future of what we want to go after and what we're looking at when we go after these grants.
All right, thank you, Tony. I'm going to open the hearing at 6:14 p.m. And I would like to ask if anybody would like to speak for or against this. Any board comments?
So this is amending an existing plan, correct? So there's a 5-year plan and we're amending that 5-year plan?
No, it's basically, it's a 5-year plan that we submitted to the county when we went after the grant, showing them that the board was aware of the grant that we were going after, and it was in our future of making these future improvements at the senior center.
So I guess the resolution confuses
Yeah,
me.
it's a requirement that the county requires us to put in front of the board, that you guys have a 5-year plan of what we're going after.
So we're not
Every year, yeah,
amending the plan as this states then, that we've reviewed the plan, is that?
there was a 5-year plan last year, we're amending it for this year.
So it's the same plan, we're just extending it.
Yes.
Okay, so there's no changes.
Okay, any additional board comments? If none, I will close this hearing at 6:15 p.m. I'd like to make a motion to move for the adoption of a resolution to amend the 5-year consolidated plan as required by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development for the submission of the 2026 Community Development Block Grant funding through Onondaga County. Do I have a second?
Second.
Board comments on this? I'll close comments. In that case, I would call for a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion is adopted.
Move for the adoption of a resolution to set a bid date for the custodial services for the Cicero Town Hall, 8236 Brewerton Road, Cicero, New York, to be held on Monday, June the 8th, 2026 at 11 a.m. Second.
Any board comments?
I just had a couple clarification questions, because I mean, I try to read these, items as the public would. So there's some confusion in the wording that could be misspoken maybe, where the Monday, June 8th, 2026. So is that just for public clarification, is that the deadline that they have to have it submitted, or is that when it's opening? Just to get some clarification for the public.
Yes, they have up until 11 a.m. That's
So
when
they-
we're going to do the sealed bids in this courtroom at Monday on June 8th. But thank you for that clarification.
Yeah, 'cause I actually had someone call me and ask me the question, that's why I brought it up.
Thank you.
Do we have additional board comments? Want to put this to a vote?
Just out of curiosity, because I think we voted for this for other buildings, why do we separate it out into different cleaning services versus kind of one contract for everything?
Just for a little history on it, this has actually been done through Onondaga County too. We actually put out the custodial bid for that and received just a couple responses back from there. And at one time, when we were all on the same campus here, there was one cleaning company. And then as they branched out to the different locations, they have taken care of their own buildings through that. But a very good question. We have entertained that. We do want to look at that in the future of having one company. Prevailing wages, if it's a company, has to play into this. We've always had the same, custodian here, as you all know, for over, the 27 years. But, or more. So that is something that they can definitely look at. But right now, each department in each building does their own at this time.
Great, thanks.
Okay, any additional discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, abstention, motion is adopted.
Move to adopt the purchase 8 point blank body armor vests under New York State bid for $10,492.08 from Lombardi and Associates LLC, budget code 002-3120-4600-0002, paid for with a permit grant and federal BBD grant. Second.
Okay, board comments on the purchase?
Is this a reimbursement type grant or we spend and then they?
Okay, body armor, always a good thing for our people who put their lives at risk for us, so. Do we have any additional board comments?
Grant, one of the ones that you get every year. The grant,
They both are, but permanent. They both are, the permanent grant can cancel any day. We just have to have a really good relationship with permanent. And, we get up to $5,000 and then the BED grant pays for the other half. And if by chance we don't get a permanent grant for brand new hires, we have New York State grant. So we're pretty fortunate that when we have to replace our body armor, whether it's a new hire, they expire after 5 years, we've been getting them free for a long time.
Yeah, it's great. Love it when we get paid for things with grant funds.
Excellent. Okay, do we have any additional board comments? In that case, I'm gonna put this to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion is adopted.
Submission of the Onondaga County Greenways and Blueways grant application. Move the adoption of a resolution authorizing the submission of an application for $50,000 funding from Onondaga County Greenways and Blueways grant program for the construction of a walking path at William Park. The path will connect the existing walking ways to provide a loop around the park. The Parks Department will provide the required 20% match in labor and materials.
Do we have a second?
Second.
For discussion,
did you search for this? This grant?
It's county grown. So they actually came, they did what else through an email. And we went to a seminar on it and right now there's money available. for
That's
some
great.
things.
That's excellent. Is there a way to build a relationship with them to see if there's other funds in the future?
Absolutely.
You know what the timeline is, like when they'll announce the awards and all of that, you know?
It's a revolving grant, so his first in, they still had money, when we had that meeting, they said, get it in, we still have money.
Okay.
How long is the path gonna be?
We still have to measure it and still get the material costs. Right now, it's just asking for approval to move forward on it.
Oh, so okay, so it's not like the application's ready to go, so part of that will be design and all that. Awesome, okay.
All right, any other board comments? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion is adopted.
Move for the adoption of a resolution that the town board approves and authorizes the town supervisor to renew the annual cyber insurance policy with Taylor Fryer and Kuhn for $10,480, effective May 28, 2026. Budget code 001-19104000000 unallocated insurance.
We have a second?
Second.
Okay, board comments? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries.
Move for the adoption of a resolution to accept the town of Cicero abuse and molestation prevention policy. This has been reviewed by legal as acceptable in form and content and was provided to the town board for review, receiving no comments.
We have a second?
Second.
Okay, board discussion on this for the abuse and molestation policy. There are a number of policies that we need to have in the town. We're definitely trying to make sure that we're caught up on everything that we need to have, and our HR department's working diligently to make sure that we're up to speed on all the policies that we need to have, so. All right, additional board comments? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion is adopted. Move to adopt the resolution to authorize the Parks and Recreation Director to sign the contract with ARC of Onondaga for weekly cleaning services at the canteen at a rate of $27.35 per hour, not to exceed 2.5 hours per the contract. Budget code 002-73100-4000-7310 canteen contractual accounts. Do I have a second? Or comments?
Is there a reason why we can't use the funds from that big grant that I didn't vote yes on?
The anticipation was to use the grant money. We are no longer eligible for the grant money.
So now it's going to come out of the Parks and Rec department to be able to clean it.
Correct.
And when it says 2.5 hours, is that per week?
Per week. So it's one night, not to exceed 2.5 hours.
How long is the contract for?
We haven't,
Because I haven't seen the contract.
Right.
I don't know what the end date was on it.
Can you provide that information to the board? I mean, I'd like to vote on it now, but the board would like to have more information.
Like we've had a conversation recently, last meeting, that if we're gonna be voting on stuff, we should at least have eyes on the stuff that we're voting on for the public's interest.
I thought they forwarded it down when I put it on the agenda, so I can go back and check.
I thought it was forwarded as well, but the only question I see here that we have is not just the end date, maybe, is anything about the council, rather, do you see anything in there that's? I mean,
Right now, we have no services.
right, messy kids.
It clearly states here that it is until December 31st of 2026.
What's it in there?
And I have one other question on here. Normally, it's been the practice for the supervisor to sign the contracts. I'm not sure why it wouldn't be authorized the supervisor to sign the contract. Mike, you've been around a long time. Is this another one of your?
It's always supervisor executes contract.
Okay. All right, so we should fix that so I can sign the contract.
Amend the resolution.
Resolution to authorize the supervisor to sign the contract.
I can reach out to Jim to have him rewrite the contract.
No problem. Okay, so we're amending it to authorize supervisor to sign the contract.
And second the amendment.
Okay, great, thank you. All in favor of board comments on the amendment? All in favor for revising the amendments, or amending this, say aye.
Aye.
Nay, abstentions. Okay, so now we're back to the actual motion itself. Do we have a second for the new motion?
Second.
Okay, any board comments on this at this point? Before we call for a vote. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries.
Move to adopt the resolution to authorize the Parks and Recreational Department Senior Center to award roofing contract to accept contracting for removal and replacement of the senior center roof in the amount of $55,400, budget code 001-6772-4600-0001, community development. Bids received through formal bid process on April 27th.
Okay,
As, I'll just say as written.
all right, do we have a second? I will second. Board comments on this?
Just to refresh my memory, this is what we've got that grant funding for. We pay 12.5 of it or something, and then they, that's correct. Thank you.
Additional comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I would like to, again, this is another one that supervisor, you should be signing this contract.
Okay,
I'd like to make an addendum for the supervisor to sign the contract.
Second.
okay, we have a motion for this to be amended.
Second.
Okay, thank you.
Is there a certain amount that you would just sign for? Is there like a certain, you know what I mean? There's a certain amount of funds.
Robert obviously knows more than all of us, right? But historically, contracts, the supervisors always told to execute.
That's true unless there's a separate one from the state or wherever they want a comptroller. I have to sign a lot of them too. So, but that's historically the case.
Okay, so we have a motion to,
Yeah, 3 bids.
all right, so we have a motion, seconded about changing to supervisor signing this. A discussion, I'm gonna vote on this. All in favor of the addendum to this motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, that passes. So now, we're going to move to adopt this with the revision to it. And, do I have a second?
Second.
Additional board discussion.
Did the contract, is it visible to the board members? Because I didn't see it. Did anyone else see it?
No.
Okay.
Did you see it? Supervisor?
I did not see that.
So we're all voting on something none of us saw.
You can vote it down, and
I don't want to vote it down, but I'd like to see the contract, because I mean, there's language in contracts, I do in contracts all the time, and there's hidden languages in contracts all the time. I don't want to put my name on something that could potentially, I trust everybody, but the public puts their trust in us.
I know that we were going back and forth with legal on it, because of one bidder did not bid an extension part of the roof. And it was this add-on, if you put that add-on on, it actually makes them the middle bidder instead of the low bidder. So we were going back and forth with legal on it to make sure that we went with the lowest bid and that it was apples to apples.
Well, Robert, you reviewed it, right?
I did, yeah, I went through that, and sometimes on these bids, just so you guys know, you might award a bid and then get the contract later, which I review and make sure it's got the specs are correct in it and so on.
So we can,
Sometimes we reject it at that stage as well, because they try to have extra language or notification that we don't agree to.
if our attorney reviewed it, we have the best attorney in the world.
I haven't seen the contract yet, but I did see the bidding documents and so on, because we had an issue with the road portion of the roof.
I'm good with it. If Robert reviewed it, I'm good with it.
I was going to.
contract, right?
Going to.
Yeah, when we actually.
May I
Okay.
just, you say contingent upon, the review from the town attorney, please?
All right, additional comment on the board?
So we need to amend again.
So we're saying that now it's, we're amending this to also add upon.
Yeah, but we approve this upon,
Contingent upon.
contingent upon. review
Approval.
of the Town attorney.
Okay. So now we have a motion to have the supervisor sign this upon the scrutiny of the town attorney. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, additional discussion before we vote. All right, all in favor of the new amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Highway rental for mini paver. Move for adoption of resolution to approve Stevenson equipment in the amount of $10,700 from budget code 003 -5110-4400-0000. Highway repairs equipment rental.
Second.
Additional board comments on this main paper?
How long are we renting it for?
1 month.
1 month.
It's an additional month. We've already got it.
Oh, we've already, so we did that
Yeah.
longer, just a little while.
It's in use right now and it's doing a very good job.
Okay, additional discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion is adopted. Thank you. Now we're gonna have a little bit of a discussion on our Parks and Recreation holiday tree. So, here we go. Tony, take it away.
So one of the things is I'm looking for feedback from you guys on which direction you want to go with the holiday tree, Christmas tree lighting. Right now, we've been using the fire station green space right there on 11 and 31. One of the things is that we know we have a good relationship with them. I've gotten feedback since I've been here about that space being a little too big for the tree that we put there. And I guess is like your feedback on how you want to go. The tree we had is about the size that we could handle with the Parks Department. Anything bigger, we're gonna need assistance with highway, and work together with that. I'm proposing to go with an artificial tree that we can grow with the space and develop with the square as it comes and make a more vocal eyepiece to the community. It's a great location, it gets a lot of traffic, and it's a good representation of the town. If we wanted to go with something like this, there is a tree service, a local vendor here that has one in stock. We could go and pick it up, we could do things like that, to help with costs. But I would like to get your guys' feedback. I want to thank the 2 board members that did touch base with me and gave me feedback on their opinions on things. But other than that, I'm gonna leave it up to you guys. If we want to go real, we want to go artificial. What do we want to see happen and how do we want to represent the town? I know that that corner is a pivotal corner. I've heard history lessons of the location of that corner is a central location of New York. So it's a great corner and it gets a lot of traffic. And I think it really would bring a town center feel if we did it the right way. And I think this kind of event would be a stepping stone in that direction if we wanted to go there. But it's a lot of work if we don't have your guys' back and support.
I'm never a fan of artificial tree. I've always looked at it as it's fake. You know, and if you're gonna make it fake, make it fake. You know, I did that this year. We actually put up an artificial tree and it was an ugly, fake tree intentionally. There's actually a fake cedar.
Oh, like that, don't wait, pretty good.
Right, so, and also I looked at, I know it was originally on the agenda. And it went through a discussion, but I mean, $20,000 for an artificial tree. Past history that I've seen with artificial trees, the lights go out after a year or two, they don't last. It depends on how they get handled, and I know you have a great team that works for you, that handle it, in a good manner. But you never know what can happen to it, gets wet, building collapses, you got $20,000 tied up into a tree that may last a year, may last 2 years, may last 3 years. There's potential other options, per a tree. I just kind of pulled something up like that so we could maybe add another flagpole and then do a lighted tree. There's different versions of that. And then it would serve a dual purpose. And there's your,
Is that what the city's doing?
they're doing them in different places, but that's like $600 cost. Instead of $20,000. And then also you have to put the flagpole in, or you could do it on an existing flagpole. If we're gonna go fake,
The next thing that I'm proposing is it can come down and it's easy storage. So we can change the location, we can move it around. It wouldn't be a permanent structure. The nice thing is our guys could do it. With the tree that you're talking with the lights, when you put the tree in, if something were to go wrong with lights, you can just replace a limb, put a new limb in. The lights are already there. We don't have to string it. We don't have to rent lifts. It's all assembled with the frame and all the limbs go on the frame. The thing is right now we have the money to do it. And if we're going to order something like this, it takes time, shipping, things like that are going to occur. And I know we're in June, it's gonna be about the time of November when it finally comes in. And I wanna make sure that we have it in time for something like this. We just put a truck out to bid and we didn't think we were gonna put out the auction. We got $16,000 roughly about for the truck, which would cover the cost of the street if we wanted to go in that direction. So we have money that we didn't plan on having, that we now have. And then again, it's the representation of the town in a busy corner.
So, Tony, I appreciate all the work that you put into looking into this. Unfortunately, I totally agree with Jamie that I don't like fake, so that's just my personal opinion, I know it's one of 5 people. But I'm not a huge fan of fake trees, or spending $20,000 on a fake tree. I like big, real trees and getting help from highway. But I do agree with you that the corner needs to be done better and we need to do it right, and it's a representation of our town. I definitely agree with you
You're
on
also
that,
talking, it's their busy season too, with plowing and all that.
yeah.
So a
What
lot
kind
of
of
times
warranty
this is
is
always falling on the parks department's laps. So the biggest thing is it's hard to catch them, not in their busy time.
Yeah.
And with plowing in winter time,
Have we reached out to any of the tree farms that are, within a certain, to see if they wanted to help us out with this and they could get a name plaque, they could get recognition, maybe kind of a mutual agreement of some sort where we can work with them?
so for me just coming in this year, I was told that they have reached out to other tree farms in the area. It's getting more and more difficult to find a tree that we can handle internally with our staff. Again, we go any larger than what we had last year, it's gonna fall on more DPWs than parks.
And then you have maintenance and is there a warranty on the tree that you're proposing that, 5 years, 10 years or something that it doesn't constantly party
I
you say?
believe it, there was something in that write-up that I sent out in an email, from the local vendor. We probably would get all that if we end up doing more research. Basically, tonight is to talk about what we wanna do, how we wanna do it, and which direction will we wanna go, and how do we wanna showcase the town.
Yes, thank you. I just want to point out that, that corner, Cody's Corners is central to the town of Cicero, so it's basically the heart of this town. So whatever we do there is going to be a representation of what we are all about in Cicero. So whatever the board decides on, please, we have to have something there that we can be proud of. So thank you very
The
much.
nice thing about the tree that I am proposing too, is that we could start with 20 foot. As that corner grows, the tree can grow. There are options to increase the size of the tree, increase it as that area grows and develops. So I'm only proposing right now is a stepping stone. As that, working with the fire department, working with the town, in the direction that we want to go, and growing that to a more visual center of the town. Again, this is only a stepping stone in a big picture of things.
For the record, I'd like to say that I grew up with a silver tinsel tree with blue balls and a hollow wheel. So, and I know the ultimate fake tree. All right, you just remember that one?
Stick the branches in the pole that was in the middle.
Then you have
This
the
is
ball
the
down,
thing. Yeah.
hollow wheel.
So roughly how much would a branch cost?
I did look at replacement branches, yeah.
Well,
This
it's
isn't
like
anything out of the-
20,000 for a 20-foot tree, so the branches are probably pretty expensive.
And the other thing I'm looking at, I think all of us would agree that it's gonna be a challenging year for the budget. And
Again, there's money in it that we didn't expect this year. If we don't. Guess what's gonna happen with that money that we got?
I guess that's my thought, so I love the holidays, not to be a user Scrooge about the money thing. But to say we have money, yes, we put in a budget line for it, that doesn't mean we're obligated to spend it. If we don't spend it, it goes back into the fund. If we made money off of selling something, well, that's money again that goes back into the fund to help for the coming budget. We already dipped into reserves to make this budget balance. Maybe now is not the time to be looking further for a nice to have. I think, the corner, it's a great idea. I just don't know that the timing, financially is necessarily the best thing.
Okay,
so we're looking at moving it to a different location, or we're still staying at the fire department?
We're still staying at the fire department. This is just developing that area, and it is movable if we decide to.
I appreciate that you brought it to us too, so that we could all have a say on that. I truly appreciate that, because not everything is done that way. And again, this is just my opinion, but I would rather have the funds go back within our department and maybe see what highway could do to help with us. Go to a local farm and have some kind of contract with them where we get a treat from them every year. And that money is going to that small local farm. To me, in my mind, that makes more sense to what I'm trying to do with the town. But I truly appreciate all the work and effort that you put into this, and you were able to answer all of our questions, and I don't want that to go unnoticed. I really do appreciate that. That just happens to be my opinion as to where I would want this to go.
I think it's great what you're trying to do. We just did a little input to keep it back in your mind, like in all of us, is if we're gonna develop that area, try to make that nicer. We all know that's a crazy intersection, and the state loves roundabouts. I'm not saying there's a roundabout going there, but we should keep that in mind if we're gonna do something to make sure that they don't step back, or we've got it placed right in the way, so if the state does come in and they have to rebuild whatever we have.
This point, unless we have any additional discussion on this, we're going to move forward with the rest of the meeting, but thank you very much for everybody who had input. To see that Joan Kessel is here, and I have a plaque that we have for her. Joan Kessel, in recognition and appreciation for 15 years of dedicated professional service to the residents of the town of Cicero. Supervisor for 4 years, Board of Assessment Review for 5 years, Zoning Board of Appeals for 6 years. So we have a plaque in Joan's honor. We'd like to come up and present this to Joan Kessel. Have the board come on down and have a picture with her. Thank you.
Not to impinge on Jones, Ms. Kessel's account, but I thought we just had a discussion about going forward. But that's not what we discussed.
Yeah.
We just talked about consistency in plaques, whether to do it or not.
I thought we were gonna go forward with this and going forward.
I mean, did I misunderstand? Did anybody else?
This is the problem, because this is unfortunate for Joan Castle, because she wasn't a part of
Yeah.
this discussion, and
This
it's
is
it's nothing to do with her. This is what happens when you go on your own and do something and not discuss it with the whole board. This is what happens. So
Okay.
that's unfortunate.
That is unfortunate. All right, at this point, we're not going to do that, so we'll move on to public input. Speakers have 3 minutes to say anything they'd like to have. All right, I'm going to close public input comments and board comments. Anything we want to do before we adjourn?
I don't have anything.
I would like to talk about the agenda. Is there any way that, because I mean, I've been putting these meetings for a very long time. And, I see the agenda posted online that's not changing the day of, the evening of. And it's a lot of work for, clerical, for Tracy and stuff that puts us together. If there's a way we could get all the department heads to get this information in ahead of time, so like maybe if we set a time, say Monday at noon, so we get this, because we all have, I know Supervisor.
We did, we actually went to the town and said noon on Friday was actually the deadline for that.
Okay, so now I'm gonna continue. We also, I know you have, your full-time job here is at the town. We also have full-time jobs, so we're getting stuff last minute. We have to run around because we're trying to do the best thing we can do, as you've seen, to review all the materials and everything for, the agenda items. And when we have to drop everything at the last minute, we may make miss something and not make the correct decision on our votes. So if all the department heads could, do their best to try to get it in, so we're not getting an agenda on Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday afternoon.
Piggyback off that, maybe we could do something with, version control, like putting a footer in that says this was generated at such and such a time.
Final agenda?
Yeah, because it's always final agenda, because the last agenda I received an email and downloaded is actually slightly different than the one that was sitting on
Yeah,
this
this
desk in front.
This is no disrespect to all those involved, you understand, and there's gonna be things that are gonna come around where it's gonna be an emergency item that we have to put on the, on it, but if Tuesday afternoon if something pops in that, in our heads and says, hey, I wanna put this on the agenda. If it's not important, we can push it to the next meeting.
Okay, we have asked for that, and we'll continue to ask for that, trying to get everybody on the same page, so. All right, any other comments before I ask for adjourn? Okay, John Kessel?
I don't understand what's happening. I've been promised the plaque before by Mike Aragano. The plaque, I don't understand why you're not doing it, but let me say this. I'm sorry, you can't hear me. Okay, let me say this. The plaque is just a plaque. It's the fact that people like me and others, regardless of the political party, have received or not received plaque. For years, the only plaques there, and you've really got me confused, were Republican plaques. Judy Boyd, he and I were denied plaques. And I will tell you, it was done by Jessica Zambrano, who at the time was town supervisor. She dreamed up this statement that you had to have 10 years of service here at the town before you could have a plaque. It was never a policy. I researched it, which those of you that know me, I don't leave stones unturned. I don't understand. I'm sorry, I'm just befuddled on what you're doing. You don't like, take that plaque and put it in the, this is what I said when I was denied before. I'm gonna have a plaque here, even if it has to be in the ladies' room. And that one can go in the ladies' room for all I care. Dave and I both have dozens and dozens of plaques. We've been honored by any and every organization, both through work and through community. If you don't like the size of it, that's fine. I don't care if, I don't know what to say. To be denied before, when it was a lie, and Tim Burgess will attest to that for me. I just don't understand. You've got big ones, you've got small ones, and I agree with you if what your concern is that they be uniform in size and all of that. You don't know how upset I am. I gave my life to this town. To this town, I brought in Cracker Barrel. I brought in Wegmans. It was me that found the property for the new senior center. It was me that led the charge to give the Noble property to build the Cicero Library. It was me that first supported the teen center. I could go on and on and on. If I die tomorrow, I don't care if there's a plaque. I just don't understand. I really feel it's political. Don't say anything I'm not through. I've never made a promise that I didn't keep. And some of you have made promises that don't get me going. But I just want you to know, you can't treat people this way. It's very unprofessional. I was elected to serve. You've all been elected to serve. Black or no black, I don't care. I'd like to tell you what to do with that plaque, but I won't because I'm a lady. But you just got me totally confused. So I'm sorry if you spent money. Mike promised me twice. I did not ask Mike. Mike said, how come you don't have a plaque, Joan? And I told him the story. This has been going on since my term ended in 1999. I ran when I was 50 years old. You want to do the math, it's fine. But it's like you're throwing something in my face. If this was the problem, it's a problem. So I'm sorry I was late. We really thought the meeting started at 6 o'clock. So Dave and I are gonna leave and we're gonna take with us the pride that we have for serving this community over 80 years. Thank you and have a good evening.
Any additional comments from the audience? Is that right?
All I was gonna say is that I would encourage you to watch the beginning of the meeting, because it would give some clarity as to why this decision was made, and it was nothing to do with you personally. All I was gonna say.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Have a second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion is adopted, the meeting is adjourned at 6:50 P M.